Hello everyone, hope you're all well. Feels like a long time since I have spoken to you all because you had half term. Hope you had a lovely time and managed to do something nice, especially with that time where you'd normally be doing your home learning. So I hope you managed to spend some time with your family and perhaps go out for a walk with maybe a friend or something like that. So today's assembly is the last two chapters of Parsley Mimberwood Saves the World. I'm going to read you chapters 5 and 6 today because chapter 6 is actually really short. So I thought I would read both of them to you, and then I'm going to have a think about perhaps what I could read you next for our next book for our assemblies. So the book ends today talking a lot about feelings, and when I read this chapter before doing this assembly today, the feelings that Parsley talks about are all feelings that I've felt during lockdown, around school being closed. They're a really different mixture of feelings that we can feel at any time. Sometimes we can feel more than one thing at the same time. So when I'm reading it to you, I want you to have a think about maybe some of the feelings that you've had over the past few weeks that are the same as Parsley. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share the book with you now. Chapter 5, How to Feel Joyful, Disgusted, Worried, Angry, Sad and Hopeful. Wednesday the 1st of April 2020. In the corner of Beau's room, we have a big wooden toy house. A couple of years ago, we went to town to go to the cinema, and on the way home, we saw this beautiful toy house in a skip, and Mum stopped the car and put it on the back seat on top of me and Beau, and we took it home. We sanded it down, then painted it green and gold. It's called the Inside Out House because the film we watched was Inside Out. We went down to the river and we collected loads of interesting looking stones. Then we painted them with different feelings. I painted a big frowning face on a pointy red stone and called him Anger. And his big brother is a jagged black rock called Rage. Sadness is a perfect round pebble. Disgust is a large brown grey rock with lots of knobbly bits. Worry is a greenish stone that has just the right size, that's just the right size to squeeze in your hand. And Beau found a perfect, flat, round, skimming stone and said that we should save it to be joy instead of throwing it in the river. To start off with, Beau and me just played out stories with the different stones, although it would usually end with Beau shouting, "Rage rock!" and smashing all the other stones with rage. Then we started to go and fetch disgust whenever Mum suggested something disgusting for tea, like buckwheat and gherkin salad or cold Stilton and spinach soup. Now, any time I feel anxious, I fetch Worry and squeeze him in the palm of my hand. The problem is, when I stop feeling worried, I just leave him lying around, and then Mum stands on him and she has to go and get Anger or maybe even Rage. This morning, I saw Beau sitting in front of the Inside Out house. He was holding Worry in his hand, even though it was slightly too big for his hand to squeeze. He said he was worried about Gran. I picked up Sadness because she's just as good as Worry to hold in your hand. I felt a bit sad that Gran was going to be stuck inside for so long. Normally, she goes out with all the other tiny old ladies and they do aqua aerobics in the shallow end of the pool and eat huge slices of cake in the leisure centre cafe. Above the Inside Out house, Mum has painted a big sign in her curly calligraphy writing. It's impossible to read because it's so curly, but she told us that it says, "It's okay to feel that way." Mum came in and sat with us for a bit, and then she told us that she thinks we need a new stone for the house. She wouldn't tell us what feeling it was or even what the stone should look like, just that when we'd know when we saw it. So We all put on our wellies and trudged down to the river. Pretty soon, Bo had forgotten about looking for the special stone and was just looking for dinosaur fossils. But me and Mum kept looking for ages and ages until my fingers were frozen to icicles and Bo had made an enormous pile of dinosaur fossils. Eventually, I saw the stone we were looking for. It was under the water, lodged beneath a big craggy slab that I had to lever up. The stone was really small, about the size of an acorn, and it glistened. When you held it up to the sky, the light gleamed through it and it sparkled like a crystal. I knew Mum would love it. "That's it," she said, beaming. "What is it?" I asked. "It's Hope." We took Hope home and introduced her to all the other stones, and then Mum painted another sign to go above the house. She had to read it out to us because of the curly writing, but it said, "Hope is the thing with feathers," which is a poem by Emily Dickinson. We wrote another postcard for Gran, and then I thought all this would be a good idea to include in my book. Here are some questions that me and Bo thought of. Are you worried too? Bo. Do dragons like soup? Bo. Who could you talk to? Me. How do your grown-ups feel? Me. Do dinosaurs like soup? Bo. Is it okay to feel that way? Mum. Chapter 6, the last chapter of my book, Thursday the 2nd of April 2020. This is the last chapter of my book. By now, you're an expert at not going to school. You could probably do it in your sleep. Pretty soon, you'll have forgotten how to go to school. Now I've finished writing my book, here are some new projects I'm going to try. Build a seawall across the river. Ask Tui to teach me to speak Maori. Learn how to juggle pineapples like Mum. Teach Einstein and Meatball, the dogs, to perform tricks. Teach Bo to perform tricks. Invent an 8th imaginary friend. Create a stop motion animation with the feelings in the Inside Out house. Phone Gran and write a report about all the interesting things that have happened in her life. Create a friend for Stickosaurus the stick insect. Investigate the number 10. Help Bo learn all the words to I Got Cabin Fever. Thanks for reading. If you enjoyed my book, please consider making a small donation to the NHS on the download page. Parsley, Mimblewood. So that is the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed reading it to you. And the reason I liked it so much is because I think it talked about so many things that we've all been feeling over the past few weeks. And I think it's really, really important, especially listening to that 5th chapter, about how it's really important that if we feel a certain way, who could you talk to about it? And it's okay to feel all those different emotions, and sometimes talking about it can really help. So I hope you all have a lovely weekend. I'll be back next week with something new, and I'm going to be thinking about what that can be. And I hope to see you all very soon. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everybody.